This is the Final Round Podcast, coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening. This is the Final Round Drag Racing Podcast. Appreciate you tuning in with us this evening. Episode number 66 is on deck. Glad to have you along for the ride. We're coming to you from the North Park building here at Academy Square. Jason is in the studio, and what a tumultuous hour it has been, huh? Up and down, people in, out, up and back and forth, and ultimately we get to talk to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I guess...
it happens, man. This time of year is tough.
It is tough. I will say, there's a whole bunch of topics to talk about, right? But at the same point in time, it's difficult to get people... I guess tied down, in the summertime like this, especially right before the weekend, preparing for racing and all the rest of that stuff. So it is what it is. But you haven't been on camera much lately, so
last month.
I said, give you an opportunity to reacquaint yourself with the viewers, I guess.
Right, it'll work. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I guess probably the biggest news right off the top is Gold Cup's coming up at Empire. That's sort of the lead-in, something that everybody's looking forward to. And then the Pro Mods are going to be in town in just, 3 weeks?
Right.
Pro Mods are going to be at Empire as well.
Right.
So it's going to be a busy couple weeks at Empire.
It sure should be. The Gold Cup is always one of the biggest events out at Empire. I don't know if I think that's just Empire's own event. I don't think that's actually... run by the Gasser Racing Series, or I'm sure there's another, Gasser series around here. I don't know if any of those guys are running. I think it's just Empire that runs it, but it's always one of the biggest events that they have out there. I guess the downside is that really if you're just kind of a standard bracket racer, you can't race at Empire really this week. We're going out tomorrow. They do have a test and tune. They're opening the gates early for the Gasser guys, but I think the test and tune actually starts at normal time at like 5:30. So we're going out to test, but after that, you're kind of on your own. There's not going to be, any real bracket racing per se if you're not competing in the actual Gold Cup itself.
We can run through the schedule quick for everybody here while we're on the topic of it. Friday, the gates open at 3:30, and that's the same for racers, all spectators. Everybody can get in at the same time at 3:30. It's $25 to test and tune. Saturday, gates open at 9:30 in the morning with time trials at 10:30 and elimination starting at 1 o'clock. It's regular racers box, no box class, running on Saturday and Sunday. The time frames are the same for Sunday as well, 9:30.
Oh, they do have a regular box, no box.
1 o'clock.
That's what it says?
According to the flyer.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was just the Gold Cup. So, that's actually news to me. Hopefully when I said that on air, people didn't go running away and immediately get on the phone to start calling people and telling them, hey, we can't race this weekend.
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that's listed in here.
I know there's a whole bunch of different nostalgia classes and stuff like that. And I thought this weekend, honestly, was completely no electronics. But I mean, if you're telling me that there is still a box, no box, then obviously it's probably not for points. It's probably just at least a box, no box race, though.
Right. There's no special memberships required. All the races are going to be on the 8th mile. No delay boxes in any class. Nostalgia Gas, 8.5 and quicker. 66 and older is 500 win plus trophy. Runner-up gets $200. Semis are 125, quarter 75. Random pairings, 1 and 2. Mod Gas, 7.5 and quicker. 79 and older for those. Same purse structure, 500 trophy, and then runner-up for 200. Semis 125, quarter 75. Random pairings there. Street Strip is any street and strip car is open for competition. 79 and older, same purse structure, 500 and a trophy, $200. Semis 125. Random pairings for first and second. Slicks, open headers, and tranny brakes are okay in that class. Open comp altereds are allowed. Front engine dragsters with them, 500 and a cup trophy, 200 for second, 125 in the semis. Then the quick nostalgia does not allow any electronics at all. Nitrous, blowers, turbos, all that stuff's okay. 5.5 and quicker with a dial-in. It's 400 Pro Tree for them. Dragsters, Roadsters, Door Cards, Ultras, you name it. 500 to win, trophy runner-up. Semis 125. It's only a 10-car field for them. So not too bad there. street machine inspection, tags, and street drivers, etc. $25 for an entry, trophies for first and second.
Yeah, and I knew there was no electronics for the vast majority of the classes. Obviously, if you're running the box no box combo race, you can run it there. But I had looked into running at the Gold Cup with my car in the past, and kind of wanted to go and just kind of tick the box, right, and said, I've run the Gold Cup, but with a delay box in my car and it being really integral to the ignition system and stuff like that, I wasn't going to take it out. So it's like, well, I guess that kind of rules out me running in the Gold Cup. But it should be a good event. I mean, and honestly, if you like, older nostalgia style race cars, which a lot of people do, obviously the gassers are very, very popular. It'll be a really good show. So that should be interesting.
Time travel.
Yeah, it really is. It's actually funny too. I actually stumbled across this. So there's the Southeast Gassers. Have you seen those guys? So Quayne Stott was an old pro modified racer from IHRA, and I think when IHRA kind of did away with pro modified, I think Quayne at that point sold his stuff and said, "All right, I'm going to figure out something else to do." So he built actually a nostalgia gasser, and then ended up starting this series. I don't know if it was just a couple of guys that say, "Hey, I'll do the same thing," and so he created the Southeast Gasser series, and so now they're doing a Street Outlaws style show on Discovery.
Oh, really?
I just saw it for the first time this week, and I think the show that I saw was potentially a pilot. I want to call it was something like, I'm going to say Moonshiners at the Strip or something like that. So the show Moonshiners?
Yeah,
so the one guy from Moonshiners, I guess, has one of these cars as well. So he got involved, and so they did a show from the track there. And like I said, I don't know if it's another series or if they just did that one pilot, but they're definitely cool to watch. And I will say, the cars that run in Quayne Stott series, they're pretty darn fast.
Yeah.
And the way they run is they run just like Street Outlaws, heads up, first one to the finish line wins.
Right.
So it'll get out of control very soon. And,
it'll price itself out of
right.
reasonabilities, right?
But
all the fine prints and all the cars have to pass IHRA inspection.
Yes, yeah. So regardless of
we're going to be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's not like we're taking stuff off the road from 1955 and trying to drag race it.
It'd be fun, but probably not. I actually saw a 55 or 57 Chevy for sale recently. And
you thought just maybe, huh?
I did think just maybe because, it was actually very reasonably priced. Now, granted, I think it was just the straight 6 that was in it still. I'm almost positive of that. But
now, is this to replace the Impala that needed tires? Last time.
Tires. Oh my God, that car needed everything. So I took that over to Sam Levitro, and I will say Sam took very good care of me. But timing chain, resonator pipe, tie rods, front pads and rotors. I don't think I had to replace the calipers. Still need tires. I already talked to Donnie Razor from Tread City, and I'm going there sometime in the next couple of days to get tires from him. It's nonstop. And actually tomorrow, Safe Light's coming to the house to replace the windshield on that thing.
Sweet.
So that's the only one I guess I'm kind of looking forward to because it's not going to cost me anything.
Right.
But
unless anybody be fooled, it's not something cool like a 58 or 62 or 64 Impala.
No,
it's
an 09 Impala with a.
I was going to say 08.
Well, actually, I guess it's not even an Impala, right? It's a Malibu. So it's a Malibu. So it's got 160,000 miles on it, and it's just a daily driver. But that thing, cripes. I'm going to have $3,000 in that thing when all's said and done.
Which, when you factor its value,
it's barely worth that. But hey, it is what it is. It was either that or
you better trade that in right now.
That car doesn't owe me a penny. I put a lot of miles on that car and used it for work and made a lot of money with that car. So I'm okay. I'm just hoping that my $3,000 makes me another year, I guess. So we'll see. Actually, we're bleeding money at the moment. So today was a new garage door install, which I'm really thrilled with. It really stunk not being able to open my garage for the last month.
Right.
The Corvette's been stranded over at Phil Harnden's house for the last month. We took it out because we were doing a garage sale. My wife's like, "Oh, could you get the race car out of here so we can do the garage sale?" Sure, okay, fine. Took it out. Garage door breaks, and it's been almost 6 weeks, I guess I would say, really, with the garage door broken. But yeah, I wasn't looking forward to spending $3,000 on the Malibu, $2,500 for a new garage door, and I don't remember what the heck else, but a couple of kids' birthdays and
that's right. Going away party too, right?
Yeah. So, like I said,
Didn't you have a trip to Niagara Falls in there too?
Trip to Niagara Falls.
I don't know if this is helping.
Well, like I said, it just hammers home the fact that, like I said, we are bleeding money at the moment. So, hopefully, we're going to get to the point where it will kind of fix itself.
Right. It'd be nice if it would. I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't always fix itself, but it's always nice to think about maybe it fixing itself, right?
Right. Just put a Band-Aid on it, stop the hemorrhaging to a certain extent, I guess. So the other interesting thing that I guess happened news-wise, and not from a personal finance standpoint, but from a racing standpoint, was so last weekend is a first for me in 30 plus years of racing.
Oh yeah.
Well, we got heated out at Empire.
Yeah. Right.
And I have to say, I was not actually looking forward to going to Empire last weekend. When it's 90 plus degrees and you're sitting in the car and with all the safety equipment on, it's really uncomfortable.
8,000% humidity.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable. And I happen to be running around like a madman around Albany. And actually, I was in Albany on one day and in Erie the next. So, yeah, I was running around like a crazy person. And then it's like, all right, I'd really like a break, and I'm not looking forward to going sitting there in the 90-degree heat. And I guess, thank God, Jerry canceled, except for the fact that it kind of ended up being a slightly nicer day. I don't think the heat ever ended up getting as hot as it was supposed to. But that is a first. I told somebody that I never thought that in Western New York I would say that races got canceled because it got too hot.
Well, I think, aren't you in a little bit of a different boat too, in drag racing in terms of the susceptibilities of the track and heat and tire challenges and getting things to hook up and stuff like that, or is that not that big of a deal?
No, I mean it certainly makes a difference. There's no doubt. If you watch NHRA, any NHRA race on TV, right? It's like every single one they're taking track temperature readings, and it's a big deal when it makes a big difference between sun beating on the track versus cloud cover. But I think a big part of it really is the fact that the racers are one thing. So, okay, it's hot. I'm uncomfortable sitting in the car in the staging lanes waiting to run. I go down, I make a pass, and take the car back to the trailer and take my stuff off, go in and get myself a nice cold drink and get in the shade. The guy that's working the burnout box, he's not out there for one pass, right? He's out there all day, and it's not just the guys in the burnout box, but obviously the rest of the track crew. You got the people down, doing time tickets, and so I think Jerry obviously has to. Not just Jerry, tracks in general. They have to think about not only the racers, but also about their employees too.
What about the fans?
Oh, the fans. There's no doubt about it. And just as from a business standpoint, all right, how many people are going to come out to the racetrack when it is extremely unpleasant to be sitting out there?
I was at Oswego Saturday, and when I walked up the bleachers, Oswego's concrete. The grandstands are all wood, and the ones on the back are all aluminum. All the walls are painted white. So you have everything is just reflecting.
Yeah.
And it's a fairly high banked 5/8
right.
mile track.
Right.
So it's all, and then they have a black top pit area.
Yep.
And they raced anyway. And years ago, the operations boxes and the suites and everything are all glass front.
Yep.
So it just turns into a greenhouse.
Right.
obviously they've put some investment into upgrading all of those, and the AC units are a lot better. But I mean, I can't imagine going out there. The feature was 75 laps. The qualifying heats were 12. So I mean, you're out there in some heat. Brewerton Speedway and Fulton Speedway both canceled. Canandaigua ran Saturday. Dundee, Black Rock Speedway, it's not called Outlaw Speedway, down in Dundee, they were off anyway, so they didn't have anything to worry about. And then Sunday in Utica, we raced there too. When I was at Oswego, during practice, one of the guys with the super modified ran, which super modified in oval track terms means that the engine is like just to the left of the driver, and it's direct drive, offset, the whole thing. Not quite the same as a straight line super modified, but you get the concept. He ran 6 straight laps of 15:04 consecutively.
Wow.
It's like 149 miles an hour.
Right.
It was flying. It was cool. I mean, obviously he wasn't able to do that in race trim, but it was early in practice. I don't know what they had done different to the track, but man, he was flying. It was cool.
Yeah, consistency is certainly very impressive too, right?
Don't miss your mark. Don't miss your mark on lap 5, because think of the momentum that you've built up and stuff. You know?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, I guess the good news was that when Jerry canceled, so there was a 60th birthday party, surprise birthday party for Jeff Martin. So I got to go to that on Saturday instead. And Bob and Donna Metcalf, the old owners of Empire Dragway, were there. And I spent a bunch of time talking to them. And it was some interesting conversation, actually. Actually, Donna even brought up when we talked about, the race getting canceled. So initially, when she contacted me and said, "Hey, we're having this surprise birthday party for Jeff. Do you want to come?" I'm like, "Well, I can't make it because we were scheduled to race." So, anyways, as soon as it got heated out, she messaged me and said, "Oh, you're going to be there now, right?" So, anyways,
now you have no choice.
Right. But anyways, as we were talking about, I mean, that was the other thing too.
Actually, since we heated out, we decided we're going to make the drive over to Raceway 42 real quick.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Which I'm sure it was. I mean, typically, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the temperature was there because they were running the PDRA race out there as well. I would have to guess that it was very uncomfortable out there. I don't know for sure, but when I think of some of the hottest days that I've had, they're all in the Midwest. Indy, Minneapolis area.
And you were in the Camaro, right?
Yeah.
So the interior of the Camaro is all black.
It's all black, right? Yeah.
Just soaking up the heat.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, talking to Bob and Donna, I mean, yeah, Donna even mentioned, with regards to the heat, and I don't know how Jerry's new concession stand is, but she's like, think about, work at the concession stand. It's I don't think I'd want to be... Jerry's just built a concession stand, so it very well may have air conditioning in there, but most drag strips concession stand is a shack,
Right.
Being in there with a grill and fryers and everything else. I mean, it'd have to be like 140 degrees in there. It'd be terrible.
There's a lot of sweat going into a lot of burgers. Think about that.
Yeah, or maybe not. Maybe that's why they're extra salty. I don't know.
You could feel the heat pumping out at Utica Rome out of those, and Sunday wasn't the hottest of the days. I mean, Saturday was.
Yeah. Oh,
Saturday was rough. Friday was rough. Sunday wasn't as bad, but man.
Yeah, Sunday was nice actually. Sunday was quite nice, but
we had trouble putting water in the track. Sunday.
Oh, I'm like, why were you putting water on the track?
Because it's a dirt track.
Yeah.
We had trouble getting the moisture to stay in it.
Yeah.
So they had opened it up and put water in the base, and then left it open because as soon as they put water in the base, a thunderstorm came through.
Oh,
so you
of course.
seal it up naturally. Right. The luck that they've had out there. So then they went back through and worked it, and then the heat came through, so they started putting, I think they put 70 loads of water on it Saturday, and then sealed it, and there was a lot of discussion that it wasn't enough. You could watch the water on the front stretch, it was just gone.
Right.
And there was dry spots, but they started pumping it to it again, and once the sun went down, the capillary action of the tire heat drew the water up out of the base, and it came into a nice track. A couple of weeks ago when the 410s were there, it rained just before hot laps, and like there wasn't even passing because the track was so fast.
Yeah.
There was a man, I can't remember who Who turned the lap? I think it was Blaney. Blaney turned a lap that was in the 123 mile an hour range on a half mile dirt track, and you just see the front tires just kicking back and forth.
Now, is that Ryan Blaney or Dave Blaney?
Dave.
Dave's still racing.
Dave? Dale. Dave. Pretty sure it was Dave. Now I can't remember. I'll go look.
I have to say, not that this is a dirt track podcast, but
well, we got to find something to talk about.
Well, and I have to say,
it was supposed to be.
right.
Last Thursday it was going to be.
But it is. I will say that I guess being an old geezer like myself.
Yeah, it was Dale.
Okay.
Which is his brother. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, they've been racing. That whole family's been racing for a long time, right?
Yeah. Dale won the Lou Blaney Memorial this year, and it was the 11th edition of the Blaney Memorial at Sharon Speedway in Sharon, Ohio. And he drives car number 11. And last year, Dave won it in the 10th anniversary in car number 10.
Oh, no kidding! That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was neat.
So, anyways, I guess back to drag racing. So, my interesting conversation with Bob and Donna. So, Bob sold the track to Jerry. It's probably 5 years ago now, but there was some really interesting discussion there regarding the history of the track itself. Mm-hmm. So I guess one thing I didn't realize is that there was something along the lines of when he bought the track, there was something along the lines of 350 acres of property that went along with it.
Where?
Basically, if you take the track and Covington Road and New Road, essentially, if you go south, and I guess I would say at that point it'd be southwest, essentially, of the track, all that property was all part of Empire originally as well. So initially, when they were going to build the track, and Bob said he still has the blueprints for it, it was going to be a road course, drag strip, and 4 ovals. Mm-hmm. And basically, they built the drag strip, and I guess the guy, and I forget the guy's name, he told me what the guy's name who was that originally built the track. But his father, I guess, was a doctor, and essentially Daddy was, let's call it, funding the track, if you will. I would say, what are you doing to my camera there?
Subtle adjustment.
So Daddy was funding the track, essentially, and I guess they built the drag strip, and at that point, Dad said, okay, that's it, no more money. So they ended up, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it was that 1970 was the year that the track was finished, and I think that they opened in like July or something like that. 71 was the first year that they ran full time. But it was crazy. Bob told me that there was literally, I want to say, 22 people that supposedly had a stake in the track and property. So when he was trying to buy it, he basically had to try to arrange a meeting with all of these people at once to say, okay, what is your stake? Okay, what is your stake? All right, what do you own? All right, how much do I owe you? It was pretty incredible, the hoops really that he jumped through to be able to buy that track. And I actually asked him, I'm like, it's really amazing. It's when you really think about it, Bob was very determined to buy the track. So he had a Mustang, I think he said he had, that he would race out at Spencer with his cousins, the Otts. Okay. And he's like, I think I'm going to, look into buying Empire. And so he jumped through a lot of hoops to make that happen. And I don't know that a lot of people would have really done that. And
that's a lot.
Oh, it was a lot of work that he put into to get it. And you think
that's the parcel of land that's behind the grandstands, going back.
So there's the parcel of land behind the grandstands going back. There's across the street. So as you're coming up New Road, I think it's New Road. You're coming up. You're looking to the right. The track is on your right there. The property on your left which is
part of it too.
Was part of it too.
Wow.
You get up to the intersection, rather than turning right to go to the track, you turn left and you kind of go down a hill. All of that was part of the property.
Wow.
There was a lot of property there. And I don't know, honestly. I think what Bob did is, over the course of time, as I think, he bought it all, and then just said, okay, I'm going to keep this section of property and the original old farmhouse for himself. I mean, they lived there for a while. Interesting story about that too. So they lived in this old farmhouse as they were building their new house behind it. And at one point in time, they had no lights in the old house. No lights, yes. No electricity. No electricity in the old house. No water in the new house.
Oh man!
So they're walking back and forth basically to take showers, essentially on a daily basis. And the house, I guess, still exists. Some guy happened to come driving down the road, saw that they were building this new house, and said, "What are you doing with the old house?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going to doze it over." And the guy was like, "No, don't do that. I want that old house." So the guy helped him essentially demolish all the additions that they put onto it, and came with a trailer and took the old house and off it went someplace. So anyways, I think Bob kept that parcel of property for his home and stuff like that. And but otherwise, I think being the businessman that he was, it's like, all right, well, I don't really need these fields out here. What am I going to do with them? Right. So
that was in the 70s, or even before that. They were looking to put in all those ovals and stuff.
So yeah. I mean, I think the construction, and I wouldn't hold me to this, but I'm going to say construction started in like 65.
Oh, so that's...
And it really dragged on for quite a while as they were kind of figuring out what they were going to do. I'd love to see the blueprint. I told Bob, I'm like, yeah, definitely don't throw those blueprints away, because I want to see those for sure. But yeah, I'm really curious as to what they had in mind. And I don't know the history behind Watkins Glen. I don't know if the road course thing, if they were thinking, well, we're going to have, be the next Watkins Glen, an hour and a half.
There's been a number of places that wanted to be those super complexes. I mean, there's one in Texas now. They've I think Skip Barber School has a bunch of different avenues. We were supposed to have that one up in Brewerton area.
Yeah,
Central New York Raceway Park was supposed to have
one
of everything there, but that's since stalled. And then most of the big Bruton Smith owned tracks, the Speedway Motorsports group, all of those have multi-purpose facilities. But I mean, we're talking about Mount Morris and Empire.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Compared to like
Charlotte,
Las Vegas, and
Las
Charlotte.
Vegas. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Still cool though.
Oh yeah.
Man, can you imagine if that happened? If that came around?
I mean, I wonder. I mean, what? So I mean,
that would change. That would have in 1965. If that track was built, if the construction was expedited and all of those ovals were put on there, in addition to the drag strip, in addition to the road course, that would have changed the landscape of racing as a whole in a huge part of New York State.
Oh, sure.
I mean, in the 60s, that would have changed a lot for a lot of tracks.
Right.
There's tracks that existed and have since closed that probably would have been put under faster.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean...
Well, that was part of the discussion that Bob and I had, too, about him buying Empire, is that, number one, I guess, is, so let's assume that the same timeline occurred with the track, that eventually it goes under and sits there, but all those other tracks got built. Well, now I don't know what Bob bought the track for, but I'm sure at this point now he's not buying the track for the money that he did. Right now they're going to want some ridiculous absorbent amount. I mean, who knows? I mean, those could still be sitting there empty at this point because no one would be willing to front that kind of cash to do it. And the other thing I mentioned to him is, like, good thing that the track had sat empty, I think he said, for 5 years when he bought it. And I want to say that it was years. It took him a few years, basically, from the time that it sat empty to basically get the property cleaned up and get it to the point where he was able to start running events, which was 87, 88, somewhere in there. But if you didn't have somebody that was willing to jump through all those hoops to buy the track like he did, I think it's very possible, honestly, that the track would still be sitting there empty today.
No.
You think somebody else would have bought it?
No. I think it would have been cornfields for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And then it would be some sort of complex for something. You laugh, but I mean, that's the destiny of closed racetracks.
Yeah.
It wouldn't, I don't think it would have come back.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? I mean, it might have still sat empty. And, what would they have done with it?
You'd be standing on aisle 12 looking at the variety of hammers and saying, these used to be the finish line.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's funny.
I'd be standing in somebody's in-ground pool. It was like, I had to dig through part of an old road or something.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you dug through the timing system.
Or I would say out there, I mean, there's certainly, I know, I don't know if Jerry did, or somebody, either Jerry or Bob, I know, leased part of the property to some farmers just for extra fields.
Right.
Now, obviously not right on the track itself, right? So, I mean, I could definitely see that one of the farmers out there would have been like, yeah, I'm going to buy this property and doze the whole thing over. And,
watch this.
Right. Look at all that great
soybean field.
Right. Or corn or who knows what. So, yeah, I think we certainly lucked out from that standpoint.
Extremely so. I mean, it's... I guess in the 80s, it's not quite the same as it is now. We've talked to a couple of people that have been able to resurrect hometown shows, and we just had the Madison County Fair just had racing return to the fairgrounds, and by racing we're talking like 10 sportsman modifieds running on the track with very little in terms of racetrack amenity upgrades, other than the fact that they put up some new Arco barriers, and they were able to run cars on the stone dust, on the cinders. And there's spots on their derby track that have rocks that work their way up through that are rocks that work their way up through.
Okay.
So who knows what burning some heavy RPMs
sure.
is gonna expose. I know in turns 3 and 4 there used to be a bunch of like shale or what that's pushing its way up through. So that's a sidewall eater anyway. It's rare these days to see new tracks get built or to see tracks come back from the dead. They're
right.
closed, and the 80s might have been a different time. I mean, we don't have the huge box stores. We're not looking for the quaint development where you have your neighbors on top of you, which
right.
I never really got that. You want to live in the woods, but your neighbors, you can't even
right.
spit in your driveway without hitting your neighbor's shutters.
Right.
But it's a different world then, so maybe it was easier to bring it back from the dead, but I just don't think that it would be there. I really don't.
Well, I mean, we talked about it with Niagara, right, when we had Dean Johnson on about him trying to reopen Niagara and potentially getting involved in another track and opening something else. And I have to say that
that is a noble cause.
Yeah, you never want to say never. But certainly if I were a betting man, if you said, Jason, would you bet a year's salary that another track would never open in New York State in your lifetime, I would say absolutely positively, I will take that bet. I'll bet a year's salary that one won't open in my lifetime. It's just, obviously, we're a very democratic, liberal state. From a politician standpoint, and the population is decreasing in New York. We've made it very clear that we're not a really great state from a tax standpoint, that we welcome these types of things, right? So yeah, if you told me, all right, I need to build a track, I don't even know what a racetrack would cost. I mean, if you talked about let's talk about a Bruton Smith style track, right? I'm going to build a road course. I mean, it's got to be at least $100 million.
Millions upon millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's got to be at least $100 million. So, I mean, if you have $100 million, it's like, New York? Why would I want to build it there?
So you hit all of these negatives about why a track will be built.
Right.
On the flip side, we're already too dense. We are overpopulated with racetracks in New York.
Oh, what we don't have is we don't have the mega complex, right?
We don't have, well, not for drag racing here, no.
Yeah.
Well,
even if we don't have a super speedway. I mean, not to say we don't have good tracks here, but we don't have a Charlotte Motor Speedway.
I thought Esta was real nice. No, I haven't been there. I don't know. I thought Esta was decent.
Esta's Lancaster, basically. Yeah.
I've never been Lebanon Valley. How's that? I haven't been there.
Lebanon Valley is, on par with Empire, basically.
So, I mean, we have Weedsport, which is a beautiful facility in terms of aesthetics and presentation and paved common areas and ability to do concerts and stuff like that. But it's it's 1.5 purposes. You can do big cars in a circle, and it can do go-karts in a circle. But that's it. It doesn't have any of those other things. In Watkins Glen, in terms of a nationally recognized venue, they've run everything there. There's so much history at that track, it's unbelievable. But it can only run one thing, road course cars.
Yeah.
Bunch of different ones, with the different featured marks and stuff like that they do, and the 6 Hours of the Glen and all the other touring car type racing and Daytona prototypes and stuff. But still, it's just those. There's no auxiliary dirt track. There's no auxiliary oval, any place like that. There's nothing that's on the same complex. So we don't have that. You don't have that big ticket super speedway combination like Bruton Smith has. But at the same time, I don't think we will, because of the stuff that you were pointing out in terms of the taxes and the cost. Look what Glenn Donnelly was trying to do in Brewerton with all the things that were going to be on that grounds, and now it's just a bunch of idle trucks.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I guess, that's the thing with Watkins Glen. I shouldn't necessarily say that we don't have a premier facility, because certainly Watkins Glen is a premier road course.
Did you know that the grandstands at Watkins Glen were the grandstands were the Nazareth Oval in Pennsylvania?
Did I know that? I'm trying to think if I knew that or not. I'm not sure if I knew that.
When they redid them. Because everything was owned by the same people. ISC owned all that.
Oh, okay.
And when
they were remodeling Nazareth, and
it was, I think they were dismantling.
Yeah.
Nazareth, they're remodeling it in the sense that they were going to put houses.
Sure. Up. Yeah. Yep. I would say that at one point I know that the grandstands at Empire were old grandstands from Norwalk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think I don't know what the story is behind that. I didn't talk to Bob about that in particular, but I think they took some of those grandstands down, and I don't know if it was a tax thing. It's like, well, now you built these extra grandstands, we want you to pay more property tax. I don't really know, but my understanding is that Bob took those down, and supposedly, rumor that I had heard, which I could almost believe, that supposedly Bill Bader, who owns Norwalk, had told Bob and him were very close at one point in time. I don't know if they still are or not. But supposedly Bill Bader had offered to Metcalf that he would trade Norwalk for Empire straight up. Now let's assume that Bader, or that all 350 acres of Empire was still there, which I'm guessing that's what was the case at that point in time. The biggest problem that Bader has in Norwalk is room.
Did Bader know of those blueprints?
I would guess probably. I mean, Bob, like I said, Bob.
What if he's looking to pick up that vision? That would have been cool.
Well, like I said, the biggest issue that Bader has had, goes back a couple of years ago, where he threatened to close Norwalk and basically build a brand new track like 10 or 15 miles down the road, because the town or county or whatever it was giving him crap about being able to use the airport road and to be able to get into the track just for the national event. So at this point, Bill was like, all right, you know what? We can fix that problem. I'll just close the track and we'll move it to next county over. How about that? And they're like, whoa, hold on. Well, we didn't mean to be that, nasty about it. So I could.
Who said anything about that?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I could definitely see where, and especially, Bill Bader put a ton of money in the track. I'm going to say in Norwalk from probably the early 90s on. So if we were kind of early on in this process, let's call it in the early 90s, where Empire had an IHRA national event and Norwalk was the cornerstone, the premier track of IHRA with the World Nationals, maybe it would have been a somewhat fair deal, but Bader would have been looking at Empire and saying, all right, now look at all this property that I have. Now I can really build what I want and not have to have the town on my rear end about access and everything else.
Enjoy your World Nationals out there in Norwalk. I'm going to make the new World Nationals.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and Empire is not a terrible location, right? It's not. If you come down 390 and get off of 390 to head over to the track, it's not a terrible way for trucks and stuff like that to get into. Traffic-wise, you could definitely, obviously, build roads to essentially make traffic be able to get in and out of the track better. And what's the biggest downside? The biggest downside that we heard overall from when the national event was here was the fact that if you had people flying in, so obviously the biggest airport you had was Rochester, which is basically an hour away.
Maybe that's what Bader wanted to do.
Build a new
Empire International Airport.
Oh, maybe. Who knows? And I think actually Bob told me that was one of the things that was that one of the things. I think that was one of the things that
was not on the blueprint.
Well, I think Empire was going to be an airstrip as well.
Really?
I'm almost positive that's what he told me. I would.
That Monday through Thursday, the track was going to serve as a landing strip.
I won't say for 747s or anything like that.
Right.
But yeah, basically be an airstrip, like you said, Monday through Thursday, and then a race course. The rest of
all that land, you could actually build hangars and charge rent and stuff.
Yeah,
you could generate some.
You could have a lot. Instead of hangars, and you pull all the airplanes out, and then there are garages for race cars. Definitely could have made a lot of money.
Opportunity missed.
But that's assuming that you have the population to support that level of track too.
How old were you in '83? How old were you in 83?
13.
Man, it's a lot of newspapers, but what a buy that would have been.
Or lawns to cut. Yeah, and I don't know what Bob bought the track for, but again, it wasn't. A lot of people just think that he bought the track essentially for back taxes. But was there back taxes? Yeah, there was back taxes, but then there was a whole bunch of other people that were owed money as well. And he said that there were some. I guess I'll just say some shady characters that were involved in this as well. So he had to deal with them too, and basically it got down to, he said in a couple of cases, it was, all right, how much money is it going to take me to make you go away? It's like, this much. Okay. Go away, please.
Did he encounter 22 people, and that's dating back to the original construction of the track in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
So there's 22 people involved since day one, or was there more pylons as it went? Do you know?
Well, I think I don't remember the whole story, but I believe some of it was like I said, people that had liens on the property from construction that was done, right?
Right. So some of these people that were unsavory, that might be where some of the asphalt and concrete and construction was coming from.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who knows? Jimmy Hoffa might be buried at Empire.
Underneath the starting stand, right? But beyond that, did he encounter anybody, did he happen to mention, that had died? Of the 22 people, that's a number of people. Did he encounter anybody that had passed away?
I don't know if I don't remember that. I don't remember any mysterious disappearances.
Oh,
but yeah, when you talk about that number of people, and considering the fact that really you're 20 years down the road from when the construction started, it definitely wouldn't surprise me to be like, oh, okay, great. Well, Esther Smith has a lien on this property, and I can't find Esther Smith. Oh, I just found her. Here she is at the local cemetery. Now I got to try and track down Esther Smith's family to get them to...
Right.
I don't know. But, yeah, it sounded like a nightmare, honestly.
It sounded miserable. I can't believe he went through it.
I can't believe he did either.
Because you got to track down... And it's not like you got the internet.
Right.
You got to track all these people down. They might not even be in state.
No doubt. Yeah, and I think he told me, I'm pretty sure he had said that he was working or had worked at Kodak. I'm going to say he was working at Kodak and basically was looking for, all right, I'm kind of done with Kodak. I want something else to do. And God, what did he tell me? He was real close to buying another business. What the heck was it? Oh, God, I wish I could remember. Because it was something completely unrelated, totally crazy. I'm going to say, hot dog stand, right? It was just something like that. And for whatever reason, that deal fell through kind of at the last minute, and he was bummed. And all right, now what am I going to do? And
okay, we're going to do racetracks instead.
Yeah, I think I'll look into buying Empire. And
I can't believe you did all that.
Yeah, I can't either. Like I said, thank God he did, because I would not be surprised if we wouldn't have a track to race at today if that had not happened. But
in addition to the Gold Cup coming up this weekend, we've got the Pro Mods coming to town.
And the big news there is that Mike Janis is just committed to bringing his car out for that weekend. So he just built a brand new car, had debuted it last weekend at the PDRA race. I know he qualified for Pro Modified. Well, they don't call it Pro Modified in PDRA. I think it's called Pro Boost.
Which car was it that he's bringing?
Which car?
What's he bringing?
Oh, God. What is the...
Isn't the 2019 ZL1 AAP Mike Janis Superchargers Camaro that's coming?
Could be.
It is. It's the one that's on this post.
Is it the... Is there... Did they actually create a poster for it already?
Yeah.
It's a silver car, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the brand new car. Yep.
Mike Janis Racing announces the 2018 NHRA Pro Mod World Champion Mike Janis is locked in for the Pro Mod Shootout at Empire Dragway August 17th. Going to be bringing the 2019 ZL1 AAP Mike Janis Supercharged Camaro for Battle of the Best in the New York area. We're in the process of putting together a hospitality for all our great customers and fans, and we'll also have our new championship T-shirts available and on hand. Looking forward to quote unquote coming home.
Yeah, I don't know the last time that Mike has run there. I know they looked at potentially renting the track a couple times, but I don't remember the last time that he's actually raced there. I don't think he was out there when the Street Outlaw guys were out there. But anyways, so I mean the Pro Mod show at this point I know is, I forget, Caruso's I know we're committed, but obviously Mark crashed his car. Geez, where did he crash his car? Wasn't Gainesville, wasn't Atlanta, wasn't Charlotte. I don't remember. Took it off the end of the track, put it through the sand trap and into the safety catch nets. I don't know if did you see that crash?
No, I was just thinking while you spun through the Rolodex trying to think of where that accident was.
Yeah.
Matt Gunther's going to be driving the family Pro Mod that weekend.
So, yeah, so Matt's going to be there for sure. I believe the Graney brothers are going to be there. I don't know whether Frank Malvaso or not said he was going to be there. Oh, God. Jim Bersani, I think, was going to be there as well. I want to say that with Janis coming, that they might have 8.
Yeah.
They had quite a few. I mean, what started off as, I think Mark Caruso was kind of the whole, guy to kind of get this going to start. It was an off weekend that the Pro Modifieds had, the weekend that they were going to do it initially. So I think Mark was, like I said, the brains behind this and said, all right, hey, let's do this. Melanie Salemi, she's going to be there. I mean, they run really, really well. So anyways, then it got rained out. Mark crashed his car, and crashing his car, one thing. I mean, honestly, if it was just the car, they probably have the car fixed in time. But he seriously hurt his back, so I'm pretty sure that put him out for the remainder of the year. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen the video, there's a video you could find online of Mark taking it into the safety catch nets, and he goes in fast. I mean, scary fast. That's... going into the sand is one thing, but whenever I've seen the fast cars go into the catch nets, it's like, man, I don't know that I'd want to do that. That does not look fun. Those catch nets get you, and then they whip you around, and overall would not be something that I would ever really want to try. It's kind of like the emergency brake things that you see on the highway for the tractor trailers.
Right.
Okay, I have a runaway tractor trailer. It's like, okay, just take your tractor trailer down.
The chutes never came out.
Yeah, chutes never came out, and then he had no brakes too.
He's still hauling the mail.
Oh yeah, he went
Oof.
really, really. I mean, he had to be. I'm sure he was going 150 miles an hour, probably.
Let's see if we can get this to a point where we might be able to play it.
You think you might be able to play it and show it to the viewers? Really? I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, but I'm sure it's funny because when he crashed, there were pictures that immediately surfaced, but the video, I didn't actually see the video until a few days later.
This is I'm trying to get it to frame up right. It won't go without. It keeps trying to play. Let me mess with this a little more here. Let's see. Why is this cropping?
So they could have Camry come out and run her top dragster, but I don't think they probably wouldn't go for that, having a one dragster versus all the rest of the Pro Mods. So, yeah, be interesting to see. I'm not really sure. Well, I should be able to look at the results from PDRA. I'm guessing that.
So this is video that is posted, I believe, by NHRA.
Probably NHRA,
it's
right?
It's by NHRA, so we do not have this as our own, in case anybody's confused. But yeah, you want to have a look at that wreck? We can play it right here.
Yeah, sure, why not? I'm sure everybody would be interested to see it.
It keeps playing. YouTube is very smart these days, I guess. It knows I want to see this thing.
Oh, there we go.
I'm going to get this off because it's not ours. This is an NHRA video. Here we go.
I missed that. I was talking about Eric earlier.
The black and red car.
Yeah, on the right-hand side. Made a good pass.
The 330 mark, 587 and it's not really slowing down.
Yeah, he had no brakes too.
This is the wreck we were just talking about.
Yep.
And he's
again,
going
quick.
quick. He's going in the sand. And he's going in the net hard. Oh, wow. Mark Caruso, no.
I mean, the sand pretty much did close to nothing.
Even though it went fast, you're just skipping like a stone across water.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, is it good to do that much?
And hopefully we'll.
Yeah, I don't think so. Honestly, it was funny because that was actually part of the conversation that Bob Metcalf and I had too. We were talking about the sand and stuff like that. And
say it again, that's NHRA's video. So when this video is flagged on YouTube, you can't watch it anymore. That'd be why.
well, it is what it is, right? Okay,
we're trying.
Yeah,
this
right.
Is episode number 66. If it gets flagged, we didn't have a guest. What if we lost?
Yeah,
it's a good conversation about Empire.
I'm trying to see what. So I know, like I said, I know Janice qualified. So he qualified number 13. So again, this was with a brand new car. 386 he went in the 8th. Now I'm assuming that these guys will be racing. I mean, since Empire is pretty much all 8th mile, I'm guessing that they'll be running 8th mile at Empire as well. So yeah, I mean 380s. I mean that's pretty darn quick. It'll be very interesting to see what those guys are running now.
Who'd you say qualified with the 412?
So that was actually in Top Sportsman. So in Top Sportsman, they have in PDRA they have two different classes. They have their Elite Top Sportsman, which is the top 16 cars, and then the rest go into just regular Top Sportsman. And you had a few guys from Western New York that qualified for the Elite program. I know the fastest of them was Gary Grainer. I actually tried to get Dale Grainer. I messaged Dale Grainer hoping that he was available to come on the show tonight. But Gary Grainer, I don't know what car Gary has today, but he qualified number 4. He went 404. Now, again, this is Top Sportsman trim, not Pro Modified. But also from New York and kind of, I guess, more local to Empire, if you will, the Rochester area, is Ken Matshaw. He qualified number 11, actually won first round, and I think he lost second round, but he qualified with a 412, I think. And then you had a bunch of guys that didn't qualify for the Elite, but were still running Top Sportsman. I know Dan Germano was one of them. I forget. There was a whole bunch of guys. And then in Top Dragster too, there was a few. The Antonoras I know were there. Camry Caruso was there running. I think she was. I'm almost positive she was in the Elite Top Dragster. Kathy Fisher, who we've had on the show, she was in the Elite Top Dragster.
That's the Dragoness?
Yes. Yep. So Melanie Salemi, she was actually running. She ran the PDR race. She was running in Pro Boost along with Janice. I don't know if there's any other of the pro mods. Well, actually, Jennifer Gunther told me tonight that she said that John Camp is going to be coming up and racing his pro modified at the race as well. So I think, like I said, I think they're going to have 8 cars, and they're going to have Nitro Funny cars there as well. And I don't know really the details behind that. If they're nostalgia Nitro Funny cars, I don't really know, but it'll be a good show for sure.
Did you see a bunch of Empire names and Empire connected names showing up in the results at the ET Series event at Syracuse?
Oh, at ESTA?
Yeah.
Well, the big one was Pete Dagnola won one of the 10 granders. I'm not really sure who won the second 10 grander, but the first 10 grander, Pete Dagnola won. I think that was on Saturday. I want to say it was Friday. I'm not really sure how Vince. I should know how Vince runs those races because I've been there before, but I can't remember if he runs the big dollar races on Friday and Saturday, and then on Sundays just another race, or I can't remember. But Pete won, and oh my God, I should know this. So Pete was in box, and then I think the way that they were doing the race was the winner of box was running the winner of no box.
Right.
And I should know who Pete beat in the final.
What I see here is Pete had his Malibu and he beat Mark Ernest, who had a dragster.
I wonder if that was for the 10 grand.
So that was the 10K bracket bash.
I wonder if so maybe what they do is maybe they run no box separate and then basically just fold them in together. Mason Fix, yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Right, Mason Fix won bottom bulb there on that particular day. So it's another local guy, Jim Fix, longtime drag racer. That's his kid.
Yeah, Mason won that. Darren Frasso won the door car race. Adam Bachton won the high roller dragster. Low roller was Mike Thomas over Charles White, Terry Lee, and Jason Chatwood. In Sunday's 10K bracket bash, Terry Lee won the no box, and then Jimmy O'Toole beat Natalie Mussolino in the junior dragster race.
Oh. So there you go. So now format wise, I know that Saturday and Sunday are how they run the race.
Right on.
Look at you finding all the results. Well, but that's Vince. I'm sure Vince is very good about. So I mean, I think he had Napa. In years past, he had FX Caprera sponsoring the races. So I think Napa was sponsoring the races this year, and Vince does a really good job putting those races together and getting money together for everybody. So yeah, that's good. I'm glad that they had good weather. The other. It wasn't the same weekend, but the other, well, I guess PDRA. So we had, I know Doug Linden runner-up at in the box class on one of the 2 days at PDRA. Mm-hmm. But the other thing I was going to mention about PDRA, that was at Dragway 42.
Are you asking? Are you telling me?
No,
No, you keep going. I'll find it.
Yeah, no.
No one wants to watch me search.
Yeah, no. So the answer is yes, I'm telling. I was 99% certain, but then I guess I had a seed of doubt there. But yeah, so that was at Dragway 42. So the big news there is that the Harpers, Gary and Gary, are no longer the track managers at Dragway 42. And I will say that happened right before the PDRA race. Not sure what went down. I haven't spoken to Gary, but yeah, very surprising to see that kind of happen mid-season. Yeah. With something like that, I have to assume that there was some type of I won't say
some type of something. Put a period on it. And don't say no.
Well, I won't say bad blood, but there was obviously some type of.
Because you don't know.
I'm not digging myself a hole, but there was a philosophical difference there, right? That clearly mid-season for those people for that group of people, the Matchams. I think it's the Matchams are the ones that own the track, and the Harpers. Like I said, they must have had some philosophical difference where it was like, yep, you know what? Rather than seeing the year out, we're done. We'll go our separate ways right now. So I'm disappointed to hear that. I really hope that the Harpers catch on at another track in the Northeast here.
They'll get traction. Matter of time. They'll get traction.
They were really great to work with when we went out there. Just really great people. Yeah.
I know Dragway 42 stays successful too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want that track to go away at all by any means. I mean, it's a nice facility. So, yeah, like I said, I just hope that the Harpers catch on someplace else. I don't know where, but, yeah, I mean, there's got to be a track around that's looking for
I was just going to say, there's no track out here that's not looking for help.
Yeah.
There's no track anywhere that's not looking for help.
Yeah.
At all.
The bummer from their standpoint, I guess, is the fact that, they just relocated from the Denver area out to here. And it's not like, all right, around Dragway 42 that there's, let's call it 10 tracks within a 5-mile radius, right? So
maybe they can go 10 miles up to the road to the next county.
They could do that. Well, I will say they are in a good spot from that standpoint. I mean, there are a bunch of tracks that if they liked Ohio, they wouldn't have to go far.
Sure.
Let's call it Ohio or the Western Pennsylvania. But yeah, I hope they stick around in the Northeast here, and that we'll be able to do some things with them in the future.
Sounds good. We hope so. What do you think? Covered a lot of ground.
Not bad.
Not bad for
full hour.
Not bad for now what?
All right.
That's going to do it. Episode 66 is in the books. We're going to be back again in a couple weeks. We'll do another round. We'll have some more folks to talk to about some drag racing action and find out what's going on at Empire, because we'll be right on the cusp of the Pro Mod event. Right. By then,
yeah.
It's going to be August 17th. Gold Cup is this weekend. Get out and support Empire Dragway with their big events coming up this weekend. Practice Friday, racing Saturday and Sunday. That is going to do it for us here at the North Park Building at Academy Square. We appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out with us for a little while. We'll see you next time.
This has been the Final Round Drag Racing Podcast, coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. We'll see you right back here again in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.